Hello everyone, today we'll solve a Markov chain problem, and we will take a problem of land use transportation problem to solve using the Markov chain method. In this method, firstly say we have three neighbors. The question is like that: we have three neighbors A, B, C, and trip produced in A, B, C are 200, 120 and 180 in 2024, and percentage of trip generated from trip pattern in from A to B, C. A, B, C is 80%, 10% and 10%. From B to A, B, C are 20%, 70% and 10%. From C to A, B, C are 10%, 30% and 60%. We have to calculate trip production. Calculate trip production in 2 years after, that is 2026, and also forecast stable distribution matrix. And these are the problem we have to solve. So firstly, let's see how to solve this problem using Markov chain. Firstly, make a diagram. This is A location, that is A city, this is B city and this is C city. In A city our trip is 200, in B city trip is 120 and C city number of trip is 180. From A to A is remaining 80%, from A to B is 10%, from A to C is 10%, from B to A it's 20%, from B to B it's 70%, from B to C it's 10%. Again from C to A it's 10%, C to B is 30% and C to C remain, that is 60%. So these are our diagram. So as per Markov chain, we know Markov chain, we know next state is depending on matrix of transition probability, and we have to multiply this with the current state. And our total trip, firstly you have to calculate the total trip. Our total trip is say 200 plus 120 plus 180, that is total is 500. So proportion of A will be 200 divided by 500, that is 0.4. B is 120 divided by 500, which will give us 0.24, and C will be we get 180 divided by 500, it gives us 0.36. So we calculate the proportion of all the values. So using the Markov chain formula, that is next state equal to transition probability matrix into current state, from 1 we can now create for the first step 1 we can create the matrix. We know that the x1 equal to, that is next step is probability, transition probability into initial current state. So here our next state we do not know, say it is A1, B1, C1, that is this is for the next year, that is 2025, and P is the transition probability. From A to A it is 0.8, from A to B it's 0.1, from A to C is 0.1, from B to A is 0.2, from B to B is 0.7, we can see in the diagram, and B to C is 10% again. From C to A is 10%, we can see here. From C to B is 0.3, and C to C is 0.6, we can see here. And our initial state is the proportion value given, that is A is 0.4, B is 0.24, and C is 0.36. So we have to calculate the multiplication actually. If we multiply, use the matrix dot calculation. So 0.8 into 0.4 plus 0.2 times 0.24 plus 0.1 times 0.36, and again 0.1 times 0.4, 0.7 times 0.24 plus 0.3 times 0.36. Again in the third row, 0.1 times 0.4 plus 0.1 times 0.24 plus 0.6 times 0.36. So we can calculate this value using calculator. So our values are 0.404, 0.316 and 0.28. So this will be the proportion of trip in the next year. So check if it is stochastic process. If the A1, the column wise, if we sum column wise, that is A1 plus A2 plus C1, the values are 0.404 plus 0.316 plus 0.28. This value should be 1. If it is 1, so we can say that that is okay and it's a Markov chain process. Now we have to calculate the it for the next year. Say in the step 2, that is for 2025, again A2, B2, C2, these values will be x2 will be p into x1. So x2 will be A2, B2, C2, and p will be, we have know the initial probability matrix. The value is given 0.8, 0.1, 0.1. So the value is 0.8, 0.1, 0.1, and for B the values are 0.2, 0.7, 0.1, 0.2, 0.7, 0.1, and similarly for C the values are 0.1, 0.3, 0.6, 0.1, 0.3, 0.6, and the current state is the given value, the calculated value we obtained in the last step, that is 0.0404, 0.316, 0.28. That is 0.404, 0.316 and 0.28. These values are the current state. So again, if we multiply, we can get the values 0.41, 0.35, 0.24. We can get using matrix dot calculation dot product. We can calculate these B2, A2, B2 and C2. So we have to check whether column wise sum, that is A2, B2, A2 plus B2 plus C2, this value, if we add this, we get 1. So it is okay. So total trip, our total trip is 500. It is given in the question. So we have to calculate the actual value of A2, B2 and C2. If we multiply 0.41 this value with 500, 0.35 multiplied by 500, 0.24 multiplied by 500, we can get the actual value. Obviously this value will be integer, that is 205, 175 and 120, and these are the answer. These are the answer for these are the first answer, that is trip production in 2026. This is the trip production in 2020, that is after 2 step, that is 2 year, we get this probability, this number of trip for first city, second city and third city. Thank you.